Yo, the light that shines is gentle on the face. What's up, everybody? My name's Alckemy. We are getting ready to get into a tuna. We're gonna make some beats. I just wrote down a riff and we're gonna try to go off of that. That was something that I think I'm gonna try to start doing. We're going to just kind of do everything from scratch other than this little melody that I wrote. We're gonna hop into this and get into some kick production. This kickarooning. One key thing about these is really just trying to figure out like what mechanics do what and how does the effects change the timbre or like the pitch. Yeah, kicks are relatively simple. I have masterclasses on how I make these kinds of drums and stuff, so I'm not going to talk through too much of it, but we can grab some Foley or a kick or something else to kind of give it some texture. I think that I'm not going to do mid-side EQing on drums anymore until I have a full kit. I'm going to record that. Okay, there we go. I mean, the main trick that I started changing though within this stuff is actually, for one, the convolver and how I texture the snares now to get something metallic, and then also like what makes the snare like actually pop, because like that sounds good and like explosive to me, but we're gonna make it sound better here in a second. I figured out how to get like an actual decent reverb tail. What you do is you turn the decay all the way down, you turn the size down, and then you turn the dampen in the early like almost all the way up, and that'll give you like a nice room verb. And that's your fucking snare. Let's get a clap going. So one trick that I've learned with claps is that if you kind of have like this rising thing here, it actually makes it sound pretty darn good. So like it kind of comes up like that. Right, we smack this one as well. Now we're going to grab some Folioli. I've been using this Foley stuff that I made with the Discord sample pack 3, just because there's a lot of variation in it. If I turn this off though, what does this sound like? Let's put some stuff on it.
Yeah, boy.
I like this to be a little bit faster. Bro, you convinced me to try faceplant. Hopefully not that kind of faceplant. I think everybody should. I don't know of any other synth that you can get this kind of variety with that much ease. Like, why don't you try the subscription for 1 month and see if it's for you? I don't know. This thing is my baby. So where can we download your patches for these? On alchemy.com. If you're just gonna buy faceplant, then what I think is absolutely essential as far as like the extra packages is multipass, snap heap, and then like if you picked one effect, it would most likely be the convolution reverb. As amazing as Slice EQ is, where you can do like your own custom filters and stuff like this, you could definitely get away with just stacking filters as well. Like it's not going to tank your CPU if you do a bunch of bell curves like this, where like you can do the gain and whatever. I do think that you can push the gain of a Slice EQ harder and there's more slope options, but you can still get away with quite a bit. And I think the nonlinear filter is included now for free, if I'm not mistaken. What is the most complicated about this entire patch is what's on the inside. With this stuff, it's overall filtering and then a clean sub. I usually don't touch it, and then everything else is just texture based. So, and then like on every single rack, there's a mid-side thing That's just extra processing. So if you know how to do this, you just apply it to the mid side. The biggest payoff of setting all this shit up, when you get to play between the macros and it actually like does stuff, right? So it actually moves, it actually changes and transforms over time. Yeah, so we got ourselves a cool little sound. A kick. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up EXO. And we're going to set this to max. Nice little loop to start with. So let's gather all of our little materials now and start to play with a single bar. So I'm gonna grab these guys here, all the ones that are like that, and try to create some, oh, I guess it's just 2 of them, but yeah. That's actually pretty sick. Wait. I'm gonna set this one off just a little bit as well. Yeah, something else that I learned with making metallic stuff is if you remove the first harmonic, then you'll end up getting some cooler, more metallic stuff as well. Probably want to choose one of these as opposed to them being random every time. Does resampling make the track more static where you're not changing any modulation sounds anymore? Well, no, you just capture the modulation. He is right, you freeze, but it's always the same sound instead of it different every time. Well, yeah, but you have to think about context, right? If you are playing a tune, like I don't overthink this. I used to a lot, but I don't overthink it that much anymore. But if you are playing a tune, right, and it's donezo, like you want it to be the same. But if you're just playing it on loop like this, then, and you just want it to be that, then like, okay, like, yeah, it could be random every time, but like there's certain things that I'll leave in MIDI and certain things that I won't leave in MIDI because of, I guess, like you can think of like a tier system. Okay. So what I mean by that is if I wanted to do a fill right here, I'm going to delete all the automation on this, but then I can just turn this off, turn this on, and go generator. And now I don't care what this is going to be. I just know that I want to fill there because it's about placement. So now whenever this goes, it's going to be something different. And when I'm ready, I'll bounce it. But to me, it's not about the sound itself. It's about the compositional tool. Why do you want to, it's not about the sound that you put there. It's about why do you want to put something there? Now that we have something like that, we can kind of use that as a phrase builder. Like you need to have some kind of call and response when you start doing stuff like this. When you have that, then that's when you can start to make the subtle and minute changes. So now that we do have something like this, I can start to change this into like something that's more complicated. So hold on, let me listen to this really quick. You know, so we can add something there, maybe something metallic. This is already saturated and stuff, so and has chorus on it, so I'm just gonna bounce this, right? It doesn't need to be like crazy. I fucked up. To add a little bit of interest. The intuition part comes from just trying to be like, oh, I want to make it as groovy as possible. That's like the #1 priority for anything, right? So even with this, like, I'm actually pretty happy with the way that this sounds in particular. Whoop. Yeah, so with this kind of stuff, like, you can automate simple effects now over time to make it more interesting. So if you turn the depth up and the delay down or something, right? So we can kind of just take like one of these little sections right here and create like cool little fills and stuff. Something like this. And now you're creating those variations. So right here would be a cool place as well to, you know, do like a cool little fill. Let me think about a way that I can put this in a tangible means, because like the truth of the matter is that you feel it. The more that you practice a sense of groove, the more that this is going to benefit you, I guess, long story short. But when you're trying to teach yourself this kind of stuff, like if you can create spaces, then you will find the interpretation. That's okay, there we go. That's the best way I can teach it. As a means of like, yeah, I totally agree, of like listening to people like Dylan and stuff and like taking inspiration from it, but like as a means of teaching yourself like how to build intuition in general, listening for the spaces in between rhythms. So creating pockets. So like if you have like a bunch of stuff that's like smeared over itself, then a lot of times like you can't hear anything in between, right? It's just a matter of like mess. So if you give yourself little pockets and you start with things that are simple, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is make your main elements as big as possible. Because a lot of times, I don't know about you all, but like if something feels empty, you want to add more to it. But if your kick is full, if your snare is full, if like your percussion is nice and full and stuff, then you're going to start feeling it already. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I think it was a few months ago, but I was asking Zane, I was like, yo, so in your opinion, in order to establish like a really funky groove or like something that grooves really well, how many elements do you need? And I think like I'm going to just kind of answer it because I'm speaking, but he said two elements, sometimes one. Right? If you have a conga or something, so like then you're like, oh, it's all about groove. And the biggest thing that I have found is that whenever I start arranging tunes, the biggest, like the #1 thing that I'm trying to go for is find something that gets me into a groove, because that teaches me, or that helps me find stuff that I'm wanting to make. If I'm like hyper focused on trying to make a bass work, it usually doesn't fucking work. If I'm hyper focused on trying to make a snare work, it usually doesn't fucking work out. And I usually don't like it, like a percussive loop or something, and something that really gets you into it. Then you start to be able to hear the stuff that is going to complement it. And it takes time, right? It takes time and practice. That's just how I interpret it, and I'm not the blueprint. I hope that you all know that. Like the people that I look up to are the blueprint. Yeah, go listen to Chi. Just go listen to Chi and listen to how he like implements spaces like in such an incredible way. And that's why I still continue to try to make music like that, because it's not even about like style and era and whatever. It's about the mastery of time and space that I fucking admire the shit out of. And everybody from South Africa does it. But that is what I love. That is what I love about their electronic music. Never mind the crazy aesthetic and the sound design stuff, right? So now what we can do is try some more shit. Ultimate thrice cream. You guys remember that from Chowder? Drop that loop in Discord. Sometimes as opposed to just like slapping it, I would try pitching it down, but maybe that destroys the mood. I think I can make most stuff work. I think it'd be kind of cool to just, again, like play around with different, like when you introduce an idea like that, I think that's one of the most helpful things is to try to give it like give it an intro, right? Zane's Lee joins the brawl. What else I'ma do? What else I'ma do? I think I jumped the gun a little bit too early and need to finish this call and response. Yeah, we can kind of just finish this up. I think that I can actually just get away with and literally make this 8 bars. Yeah, I think the intro is fine too. It introduces the main element of the tune, which is the melody is kind of carried throughout. One more time for the road, and then I'll take a couple more questions if anybody has anything. But other than that, I don't really have anything else that I want to do today. I did a whole tune in 4.5 hours, so there's that. I mean, yes, it needs work, but we did the whole arrangement, so. It's cracker time. Well, that's another beat in the books. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys like the basses and stuff, check out alchemy.com and check out the new YouTube channel. The link is in the description for tricking stuff. Bye, everybody.